The morning sun rose over planet Vornis, shining through the large glass dome of Nova Light Academy. The academy stood proud among the tall silver towers of the human colony. It was a place where only the best and brightest young minds studied. Children of generals, scientists, and business leaders came here to learn. But today, the academy was buzzing for another reason. "A new history teacher is coming," whispered a student in the hallway. "I heard he's strange," another said. "Doesn't talk much." Inside room 4A, students filled the chairs, waiting for their new teacher to enter. Some looked curious, some bored, and a few like Taro and his group looked ready to cause trouble. Taro was the leader of a group of rich and proud students. His father was a weapons dealer. His mother worked for a planetary council. Taro thought he was better than everyone else, including teachers. No one stopped him because his parents had power. Then the door opened. A man in a plain gray coat walked in. He looked around 40. His hair was dark and short. He wore glasses and carried an old paper notebook. Most teachers use tablets, but this man seemed different. "Good morning," he said, placing his notebook on the desk. "I am your new history teacher. My name is Ryan." The class stared at him. His voice was calm, soft, and slow. He didn't look strong or smart. He didn't smile much. He looked ordinary. Taro smirked. "Nice coat, sir," he said loudly. "Did you find it in a trash bin?" The class laughed. Ryan didn't react. He just opened his notebook and started writing something. "History," he said, "is not about names and dates. It is about choices and results. One decision can change a planet." No one listened. Some students scrolled on their screens. One girl even started doing her makeup. Ryan continued speaking quietly, not caring. Taro threw a crumpled paper ball. It hit Ryan's desk. Still, Ryan said nothing. He only raised one eyebrow and turned to the board. During the break, Taro and his group met in the common room. "This guy's a joke," said Kren, one of Taro's friends. "He's too weak to be a teacher here." Taro smiled. "Let's make him leave 1 week. I bet he quits." The next day, Ryan entered the class as usual, but his desk was gone. In its place was a small table from the cafeteria. Students laughed. "Someone moved it," Ryan said softly. He placed his notebook on the small table and began the lesson. Taro stood up. "Sir, how do you know all this history? Were you there during the wars?" Ryan looked at him. "I read many records. Some things I've seen myself." The class chuckled again. Taro rolled his eyes. "Sure you did. Maybe you were the hero of the Battle of Red Rings?" Ryan didn't answer. He simply turned back to the board. But something in his eyes made a few students pause. For just a second, his calm gaze seemed deep, almost cold. By the end of the week, things got worse. The students locked Ryan's office door from the outside. They spilled water on his chair. Taro made a fake video of Ryan sleeping in class and sent it around. Still, Ryan came every day. Still, he taught. Still, he stayed silent. Why doesn't he quit? Kren asked. "Because he's too stupid to know we're mocking him," Taro replied. One afternoon, Ryan walked through the hallway with a small case in his hand. Taro and his friends were waiting. "Hey, teacher," Taro called. They surrounded him. "Where are you going?" asked Lena, a girl in the group. "Library," Ryan replied. Taro grabbed the case from his hand. "Let me carry this for you, old man." He opened the case and spilled the contents on the floor. Only paper and pens. "Oops," he laughed. "Must have tripped." Students nearby stopped to look. Ryan bent down silently and picked up his things. Someone bumped into him. He hit the wall hard, knocking over a cleaning bot. Dust and foam spilled on his coat. More laughter. Ryan stood up slowly, dusted himself off, and looked at them. "Are you finished?" he asked in a flat voice. Taro blinked. Something about Ryan's voice didn't feel normal this time. It was too calm. Like still water before a storm. Yeah, Taro said, forcing a laugh. For now. Ryan walked away as he turned the corner. A small black object slipped from his coat. No one noticed it hit the floor. It was round, metal, and blinking softly a tracker. Later that night, in the quiet dorms, Ryan sat on his bed, coat clean again, notebook beside him. He tapped the side of his glasses. A blue screen appeared in front of his eyes. Mission log, day 5. Status, undetected. Target movement, tracked. Civilian disruption, minor. Cover identity, maintained. He smiled slightly. Let them play, he whispered. It helps me stay invisible. The days passed, but the bullying didn't stop. The students at Nova Light Academy continued to laugh behind Ryan's back. Even other teachers didn't care much. They were used to seeing new teachers come and go, especially those who couldn't handle students like Taro and his group. But Ryan stayed. Every morning, he walked into the classroom with the same calm face. He taught quietly, wrote neatly, and answered questions without showing any anger. Some students started to notice something strange. He never raised his voice, never got upset, and never missed a detail. Still, the bullies saw him as weak. To them, Ryan was just a boring, old man with no power. One afternoon, Taro and his group planned something bigger. We need to break him, Taro said. He's too calm. It's like nothing gets to him. He's not normal, Kren replied. Maybe he's a robot, he joked. Lena laughed. Let's see how he likes real humiliation. They waited for the right time after classes when the hallways were full of students. Ryan stepped out of his classroom, carrying his notebook and case. The hall was crowded. Students rushed around, chatting and heading for their dorms. Taro and his group were ready. Sir, Taro called from behind. Wait, Ryan turned. Yes? Taro walked up to him with a fake smile. We wanted to say sorry for the other day. You know, the water, the jokes. It was just fun. Ryan looked at him calmly. I understand, thank you. But we want to make it up to you, Lena added. Can we carry your case to the teacher's room? Ryan hesitated. Then he nodded. If you wish. He handed the case to Kren. Kren opened it again. It only held papers and pens. He made a face. Nothing interesting. Maybe this is more useful. He dropped the case on the floor and stomped on it. The papers flew everywhere. Before Ryan could react, Taro pushed him lightly, but just enough to knock him into a passing cleaning bot. The machine beeped, lost balance, and sprayed Ryan with blue foam and dust. Laughter exploded from the students nearby. Phones came out. Some took pictures. Others took videos. One student said, Is this a teacher or a clown? Ryan stood still, covered in cleaning foam and broken paper. His glasses were crooked. His coat was stained. His face was expressionless. The laughter died down slowly. For a moment, the hallway was silent. Everyone waited for him to yell, to shout, or at least show anger, but he didn't. He quietly adjusted his glasses, picked up his notebook, and walked away. Taro frowned. He had expected a reaction, but Ryan just left. Again, later that evening, the videos went around the academy. Titles like Teacher Gets Sprayed by Cleaning Bot or New Teacher's Bad Day were shared in secret groups. But something strange happened. Some students, especially the quieter ones, didn't find it funny. That wasn't right, said a student named Milo. He didn't do anything wrong. Another replied, he just wanted to teach. Why are they bullying him? For the first time, a few students started to feel sorry for Ryan. Far away from the dorms, on the edge of the academy compound, Ryan stood alone under a tower. The stars above shone brightly through the glass dome. His coat was clean again. His glasses fixed. He pressed a small button on his wrist. A soft voice spoke in his ear. Command here. Report status. Ryan replied in a low voice. Target activity is rising. Smuggler contact confirmed near student zone. I remain under cover. Any trouble? Ryan paused. Minor disruptions. Nothing I can't handle. Continue observation. Priority is the package. Do not reveal identity. Understood. He turned off the device and looked out at the academy lights. These children, he whispered, they have no idea what's coming. Meanwhile, deep underground below the school, something stirred. Inside a hidden tunnel, two masked figures met. The shipment is ready, one said, but there's a problem. Someone is watching. Who? We don't know. But our men said a stranger is moving quietly, never seen, only signs left behind. Could be him. The second figure went silent for a moment. If it's the ghost blade, we must act fast. Back in his small teacher's room, Ryan sat with his notebook. He didn't write any lesson plans that night. Instead, he studied a digital map of the academy, one that no regular teacher had access to. Red dots blinked below. The building, moving slowly. Secret paths. He tapped one of the dots. A profile appeared. It was of Taro's father, a weapons dealer wanted in 6 systems. So, Ryan whispered, the son is just a shadow of the father. The next morning, Taro saw something strange. He walked into the hallway and saw a student carefully cleaning a wall where the foam had sprayed rayon. Another student helped pick up leftover paper. Why are you doing that? Taro asked. Because it was wrong, the boy replied. He didn't fight back. Doesn't mean he's weak. Taro scoffed and walked away, but a small doubt had entered his heart. Ryan entered class that day with the same calm face. He placed his notebook down and began the lesson. Today, he said, we learn about leaders who were judged too early and enemies who smiled before striking. Taro looked at him carefully. For the first time he wondered, who is this man really? Late at night, the lights of Nova Light Academy dimmed. Most students were in their dorms, busy with homework, games, or sleep. The school looked peaceful. But outside the academy walls, the colony was not so quiet. On the outer edge of Sector 4, a small building exploded without warning. Flames lit the sky for a few seconds, and then everything went dark again. There were no alarms, no cries for help. The area had already been cleared. The next morning, a quiet message spread through military channels. Illegal weapons cache destroyed. Unknown operator. No witnesses. Suspected ghost blade activity. No one at the academy heard the news, except for one man. In his small room, Ryan sat at his desk. His notebook was open, but his eyes were on the small screen hidden under it. A news report blinked silently on the screen, showing the explosion. He pressed a button on his glasses. A red line of text appeared. Mission progress, 36%. Enemies active. Eyes on school. Ryan nodded slowly. They are getting closer. At school, life continued as usual. Students walked the halls, laughed in the canteen, and ignored the quiet man who taught them history. But small changes were beginning. Some students had started sitting up straighter during Ryan's lessons. Some began to think deeper about the things he said. History is not just about the past, Ryan told the class that day. It is about patterns. When people do the same things again and again, the results often repeat. Taro sat in the back, arms crossed. He still didn't like Ryan, but he couldn't stop watching him. There was something strange in the teacher's eyes, like he knew too much. After class, Taro pulled his friend Kren aside. We've checked his records, right? He asked. Yeah, Kren said. He used to be a field historian. Nothing important. No medals, no rank. No past either, Taro muttered. That's the problem. That night, in the dark part of the city, a secret meeting was taking place. 3 alien mercenaries sat in a small room, looking at a blurry picture of a man in a gray coat. This is him? The leader asked. Yes, said a human informant. He's in the academy now, teaching, the alien hissed. The ghost blade hiding as a school teacher? Is this some kind of joke? It's his style, the human said. He gets close, watches, strikes when it matters most. The leader grunted. We must move fast. The shipment arrives soon. And the boy? The informant asked. The alien smiled coldly. He's the son of our partner. We won't harm him. Unless the ghost blade forces us. Back at the academy, Ryan walked through the garden paths after curfew. The lights were low. Wind rustled through the tall grass. He moved silently, like a shadow. Suddenly he stopped. He bent down near a metal drain cover and pulled out a small black chip. He turned it over in his hand. It was a signal booster. Someone had placed it to send messages out of the school. Hidden well. Ryan whispered, but not enough. He pocketed the chip and kept walking. The next day, rumors began spreading in school. Did you hear? One student whispered. Another gang vanished last night. No one knows how. My dad works in the security office, another said. He said a black ship was seen above Sector 5, but disappeared in seconds. Some students laughed. Others looked worried. But one thing was clear, something was happening beyond the school walls. And slowly, eyes began to turn toward Ryan. In the teacher's room, Mr. Darvin, the science teacher, looked at Ryan as he poured tea. You don't talk much, he said. Ryan nodded. I only speak when needed. Darvin chuckled. You're a strange one. You don't act surprised when you hear about crime or danger. It's like you've seen it all. Ryan gave a faint smile. I've seen many things, Mr. Darvin. Darvin sipped his tea. Just be careful, this planet has shadows. Ryan replied softly, so do I. That afternoon, Ryan entered his classroom early. The room was empty, but he wasn't alone. He stood still for a moment, then turned sharply toward the back wall. You can come out now. A boy stepped out from behind a cabinet. It was Milo, one of the quieter students. I'm sorry, Milo said quickly. I wasn't trying to spy. I saw you last night. Ryan didn't look angry. What did you see? You were near the garden. You picked up something. Did you tell anyone? No, Milo said. I don't know why, but I trust you. Ren studied him. Then he nodded. Good. Keep your eyes open, Milo, but keep your mouth closed. This place is not as safe as it looks. Milo blinked. Are you a soldier? No, Ryan said. Something older than that. Later that night, someone sneaked into the academy's main data room. The cameras were disabled. No alarms were triggered. A figure in black moved between the servers, looking for Ryan's file. When they found it, they smiled. But as they opened it, the screen flashed red. Access denied. Tracking active. The figure's smile disappeared. Far above, in a hidden room inside the academy dome, Ryan sat watching a live feed from the data center. Caught you, he said softly. He tapped a screen. A security lock sealed the doors in the lower chamber. The figure inside was trapped. Ryan stood, picked up his coat, and disappeared into the shadows. The next day at Nova Light Academy, something was different. Whispers filled the halls. Did you hear? Someone broke into the data center last night. They say the cameras didn't work. Only one person saw the thief. And no one knows who stopped them. Students were curious, but most of them went back to their normal routines. Only a few noticed that the quiet history teacher, Ryan, walked a little faster that morning. His eyes looked sharper, his movements more alert. In the combat hall, Taro stood with his team, wearing his academy training suit. Today was their weekly combat exercise class, a time for students to practice martial arts and self-defense. The instructor, Mr. Hasker, was absent. He had called in sick. So the academy head asked Ryan to supervise the session. Most students were surprised. A history teacher running a combat class? Taro saw his chance. Everyone, he called loudly. "I think we should let Mr. Ryan show us how to fight today." The class chuckled. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "This is not my field. But if you want a lesson, we can have a simple match." The class gathered around the large training mat in the center. Taro stepped forward, smiling. "Just light sparring, no harm." Ryan nodded, agreed. They stood facing each other on the mat. Taro was tall, strong, and fast. He had trained in private clubs. He thought this would be easy. Ryan looked relaxed. He didn't take a fighting pose. He simply stood, hands behind his back. "Ready?" Taro said. Ryan gave a small nod. Taro moved first. He stepped in with a quick punch aimed at Ryan's shoulder, fast enough to show his skill, but light enough to seem polite. But before his fist could land, Ryan turned slightly and stepped aside. The punch hit air. Taro blinked. He tried again. Faster this time. A punch, then a kick. Ryan dodged both without even lifting his hands. The class went quiet. Taro narrowed his eyes. He launched a faster combo, 3 punches and a low sweep. Ryan moved like a leaf in the wind. He ducked, leaned, and stepped out of reach every time. It was like he could read Taro's every move before it happened. "Is he floating?" someone whispered. Then, suddenly, Ryan stepped in close faster than anyone could see and lightly touched Taro's chest with 2 fingers. Taro stumbled backward and landed on the mat. Silence. Ryan stood still. "Control is power," he said quietly. "Anyone can throw a punch. Not everyone knows when not to." Taro sat up, surprised and confused. That touch had no strength. But it had stopped him completely. Ryan walked off the mat and picked up his notebook. "Class is over." The students slowly followed, whispering. In the hallway, Kren ran up to Taro. "What just happened?" "I don't know," Taro said. "He didn't fight like a normal teacher. He moved like a ghost," Lena added. "Maybe the stories are true." "What stories?" "About that assassin. The one people call the Ghost Blade." Taro's eyes narrowed. "No, that's just a myth. Are you sure?" Lena asked. That evening, Ryan stood on the academy's roof. The wind was strong, but he didn't seem to notice. He stared at the stars. His coat flapped in the wind. Behind him, someone approached slowly. It was Milo, the student who had spoken with him earlier. "Sir?" Milo said softly. Ryan turned slightly. "I saw the match today," Milo said. "You didn't hurt him, but you still won." "How?" "By understanding balance," Ryan replied. "Strength without control leads to chaos." Milo looked up at the stars. "Are we in danger?" Ryan didn't answer for a moment. Then he said, "Not yet, but soon. Why are you here?" Milo asked. Ryan looked at him. "To protect something. Someone. Maybe more than one." Milo nodded, then stepped back. "I won't tell anyone." "I know," Ryan said with a small smile. Far beneath the school, in the tunnels below, the alien mercenaries prepared. Their leader, a tall creature with armor-like skin, spoke to his team. "The Ghost Blade is here. We must confirm his identity. But we cannot attack in the open. Not yet." "What about the boy?" One asked. "We let him live. For now, he may be useful." They loaded weapons silently. Later that night, Ryan stood before a hidden panel in his room. Behind it was a small locker, and inside was a strange silver device, his real communication tool. He turned it on. A voice answered. "This is command status." Ryan replied, "The smugglers are preparing for something. Their movements are getting faster. I suspect a strike within 72 hours. Is your cover still safe?" "Yes, but the students are starting to notice. One of them may already suspect the truth. Maintain cover until the shipment arrives. Your mission remains to protect the package." "I understand." Ryan turned off the device and closed the panel. The next morning, Taro walked into class and looked at Ryan differently. For the first time, there was no smirk. No joke. He simply sat quietly and listened. Ryan began the lesson. Long ago, a warrior led a battle without drawing his sword. He won not with fear, but with respect. His enemy lowered their weapons before the fight began. Milo smiled slightly. Taro said nothing, but his hands stayed folded, and his eyes never left the teacher. Night fell over Nova Light Academy, and silence covered the glass dome like a soft blanket. But under that calm, something dangerous was moving in the dark. A group of masked alien mercenaries slipped through the outer gate using stolen codes. They wore black suits that blended into the shadows. No alarms went off. No guards saw them. Their target was inside the school. One of them whispered, "He's here, the Ghost Blade." They split into pairs and entered the academy. Inside, Ryan sat alone in the security room. The room was dark, except for the soft blue glow of dozens of screens. He had been watching the feeds all night, waiting. When the first camera went black, he didn't panic. He stood up, picked up a small silver case from under the desk, and walked out. In the hallway, he moved like water, silent, smooth, quick. He pressed his glasses. A voice spoke through them. Targets entered, 6 in total. Weapons confirmed. Ryan whispered back, "Don't engage. I'll handle it." Down in the student dorms, Milo sat on his bed, reading a book. He couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Ryan, the way he moved, spoke, and watched everything. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then the screen in his room went black. Milo's eyes widened. He rushed to the hallway and saw other students coming out, confused. A few were whispering. Some laughed, thinking it was just a power issue. Then a loud noise echoed through the building. Boom. Milo froze. That was not a system error. That was an explosion. On the roof, 2 alien mercenaries tried to cut a hole into the dome. They didn't notice the shadow behind them until it was too late. Ryan struck fast 2 blows, 2 targets down. He moved without a sound, grabbing one of their cums and crushing it. Another signal appeared on his glasses. 4 remaining. 1 near class hall, 3 headed toward core lab. Ryan turned and ran, fast and silent like a machine. Meanwhile, Taro had woken up from the blast. He looked out the window and saw smoke in the distance. "What now?" he whispered. Then he noticed something strange. His father's symbol flashed on a small drone flying outside. It was the same logo he had seen on secret files at home. He didn't understand it fully, but now he realized something. His family might be connected to the attackers. He ran out of his dorm and found Milo on the stairs. "We need to find the teacher," Taro said. Milo didn't ask why. He just nodded. In the lower hall near the core lab, 3 armed mercenaries approached a locked door. One placed a small scanner on it. "Almost there," he said. Just as it clicked, the lights above burst. A figure dropped from the ceiling. Ryan, no longer a teacher, but a fighter. He didn't speak. He just moved. The first alien raised his gun too. Late, Ryan kicked it out of his hand and knocked him out with 1 hit. The second swung a knife. Ryan ducked and flipped him over. The third tried to run. Ryan jumped forward and slammed him into the wall. All 3 lay still. In the hallway nearby, Taro and Milo saw the fight's end from behind a corner. Their eyes went wide. Ryan stood straight, breathing slowly, completely in control. Taro whispered, "He's not just a teacher." Ryan turned and saw them. He walked over quietly. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "Who are you?" Taro asked. Ryan looked into his eyes. "Someone who protects where others try to destroy." "But you fight like a soldier." "I fight like someone who's tired of war, but still knows how to win." Taro lowered his voice. "Is this about my father?" Ryan didn't answer directly. "You must choose who you become. Your blood is not your future." Suddenly, his glasses blinked red. "Last enemy near East Gate, armed, hostage taken." Ryan looked at the boys. "Stay here." Then he vanished into the shadows. At the east gate, the final alien mercenary held a young student by the arm, pressing a sharp blade near her neck. "You think we're afraid of your ghost tricks?" he shouted. "Come out." Rian stepped from the dark hallway. "I'm here," he said calmly. "Drop your weapon. I don't carry one." The alien laughed. "Then you're dead." He turned the blade toward the student, but before he could move, Ryan flicked a small dart from his sleeve. It hit the alien's hand. The blade dropped. Ryan rushed forward. 3 moves later, the attacker was on the ground, unconscious. The student ran to safety. Security forces finally arrived. But the enemies were already defeated. The academy was safe because of one man. The next morning, rumors spread like fire. Someone stopped the invaders. "Did you see the cameras? A teacher took them down alone. Was it really Mr. Rian?" Milo said nothing. Taro didn't either. They both just looked at each other and nodded. Later, in the classroom, Rian stood as always, calm, clean, notebook in hand. But now, no one laughed. No one mocked him. They sat quietly, watching, listening. He began his lesson. Sometimes heroes wear armor. Sometimes they wear a coat and glasses, but they fight just the same. No one spoke, but in their hearts, they all knew their teacher was not ordinary. He was something more. After the attack, Nova Light Academy returned to normal on the outside, but not on the inside. The students acted normal. They still wore their clean uniforms, still walked through the shiny halls, and still sat in classes as if nothing had happened. But their eyes told the truth. They knew now. They knew that Mr. Ryan, the quiet history teacher, was not just a man with a book. He was something else, something powerful, something dangerous. But they also knew he was on their side. Taro sat quietly in his room that evening. He didn't feel proud or strong like before. He felt confused. His father had always told him, power is everything. But Rian had shown something else: control, calm, skill. True power didn't come from fear or money. It came from knowledge, from focus, and from purpose. And worst of all, Taro couldn't forget what he had seen. His father's symbol on the drone. It wasn't just a mistake. It was proof that his family was involved with the people who had attacked the school. In the teacher's quarters, Rian stood near the window, watching the night fall over the colony. His glasses blinked. A voice came through. "Command here." "Good work, Ghostblade." "Targets neutralized." "Shipment intercepted." Ryan answered calmly, "There is more. The network runs deeper than we thought." "Explain." Rian tapped his screen. A picture of Taro's father appeared. Under it, Ralin Kaur, human arms dealer. Suspected in 8 systems. He is using his son's academy as cover. He moves weapons under the school. This was not a single attack. It was a test. Understood. Do you need extraction? "No," Rian said. "Not yet. The boy is changing. He may help us." "Proceed carefully. Do not let your cover break." "I won't." The line went silent. Rian stood still, looking out at the stars. The next day, Rian gave a strange history lesson. He didn't talk about old wars or dates. He talked about choices. A man can be born from a strong family, he said, but still become weak. Another can grow up with nothing, but become a leader. Why? Because of choices. He looked straight at Taro. Taro didn't look away. He understood what Ryan was saying. It was not just a lesson. It was a message for him. Later, in the garden behind the academy, Taro found Ryan alone, feeding small silver birds that lived in the trees. "Sir," Taro said. Ryan didn't turn around. "Taro, why didn't you report me?" Taro asked. "Or my father?" Ryan dropped a few more seeds on the ground. "Because people deserve a chance to do what is right before they are judged." Taro stepped closer. "My father, he's not a good man. I see that now. I never questioned where the money came from. I never asked. Now you know, Ryan said. The question is, what will you do with it? Taro's voice was quiet. I want to stop him. I don't know how. Ryan looked at him finally. Then listen closely. We don't have much time. That night, Taro and Milo met Ryan in the back room of the old storage hall. Ryan had cleared the place and turned it into a small command center. On the table was a map of the academy, marked with red lines. There's one last delivery scheduled tonight, Ryan said. A ship will land near the East Fields. Your father's men will collect the cargo and take it underground. What kind of cargo? Milo asked. Ryan answered, advanced weapons, illegal, dangerous. Taro clenched his fists. How do we stop them? Ryan handed each boy a small cum device. You'll help me, but do only what I say. If anything goes wrong, run. Understand? Both boys nodded. Midnight. Clouds covered the moon. The academy was dark, and the east field was silent until a ship appeared. Low and quiet, like a shadow in the sky. It landed without lights. From the trees, Ryan watched through a lens. He saw the men exit the ship. 3 of them, all armed. Taro watched from the other side, his heart pounding. Then he saw his father stepping out from behind a truck. He felt pain in his chest. His father had told him he was on a business trip. Another lie. Ryan gave the signal. From the shadows, he moved quickly, striking the first guard before the others noticed. The second aimed a weapon, but Milo dropped a flash spark from above. Light blinded them. Ryan moved like a blur, one after another. The smugglers fell. Only Ral and Kor remained facing Ryan with calm eyes. I wondered when you'd show up, he said. You're done, Ryan replied. Rallen looked past him at Taro. Son, come here. Taro stepped forward, but stopped beside Ryan. No, father, I'm not with you. Rallen's face hardened. You'll regret this. I already do, Taro said. Ryan stepped forward. You've lost. But Rallen pressed a button. Behind them, the ship powered up. It's not over, he said. You can't stop a whole network. I don't need to, Ryan said, pressing his own device. Suddenly, military ships dropped from the clouds above. Bright lights lit the field. Sirens blared. A voice shouted, This is Fleet Command. Surrender now. Rallen froze. The game was over. Hours later, the academy returned to calm. The ship was gone. The smugglers were in custody. Ryan stood with Taro and Milo near the field. You did well, he said. Taro nodded. What happens now? Ryan gave a small smile. You go back to class and act like this never happened. And you? I finish my mission. The sun rose slowly over Nova Light Academy, casting a warm golden glow through the glass dome. The academy was quiet, but not the same quiet as before. Students moved with purpose. The air was charged with a new respect for each other and for their quiet history teacher, Ryan. In the classroom, Ryan stood by the window, looking out at the school grounds. His notebook was closed on the desk. For the first time in weeks, he felt calm. The door opened gently. Taro, Ryan said without turning. Taro stepped in, carrying his books, but with a different look in his eyes. Sir, Taro said. I want to thank you, Ryan smiled faintly. For what? For showing me a different path. For helping me understand who I want to be. Ryan nodded. That is the hardest lesson, not history, but life. Taro looked out the window with a small smile. Across the school, the students gathered in the common hall. Whispers of the recent events still floated in the air. Milo stood among them, feeling proud but humble. A girl came up to him. Do you think Mr. Ryan will stay? Milo shrugged. I don't know, but I hope so. Outside, the colony leaders met with the academy staff. The headmaster spoke quietly. Ryan's true identity was unknown to us until recently, but his actions saved many lives. One official nodded. He is more than a teacher. He is a guardian. The headmaster looked at the sky. We must protect this planet from the shadows. And we will need people like him. Days passed. Classes continued, but with a new spirit. Taro no longer led the bullies. Instead, he helped other students, standing up against unfairness. Milo studied harder, inspired by the bravery he had seen. And Ryan? He stayed quiet. He taught history, but also lessons about courage, choices, and honor. One afternoon, Ryan walked through the gardens alone. A small silver bird landed on his hand. Smiled softly. Suddenly, his communicator blinked. Mission complete. Extraction available. Ryan looked at the sky. The stars were bright. He thought about the students, the colony, and the future. Slowly he stood tall. Not yet, he whispered. This place still needs me. At the edge of the academy, Taro watched Ryan walk away. Toward the horizon, he felt a strange mix of respect and hope. I will be ready, Taro promised himself. Ready to choose my own path. Back in the classroom, Ryan opened his notebook. He wrote a single line. A hero is not one who fights, because he must, but one who chooses to stand when others fall. He closed the book. The lesson was over.